We talk about compliments. We talk about compliments. We talk about compliments.
Get a lot of compliments from the sexy mamacitas.
Compliment pulling fragrances, positive attention, compliments. I love a good old compliment. Compliments, compliment pulling, a big compliment puller.
Top 15 most complimented men's fragrances.
We talk about compliments. Talk about compliments.
Most complimented men's fragrances.
Compliments for compliments for compliments for compliments for
Compliment monster fragrances.
Pussy in your face is what you're gonna get when she smells this fragrance.
positive attention, compliments, positive attention, compliments.
Get a lot of compliments from the sexy mamacitas. Sexy mamacitas. Sexy mamacitas.
Or compliment focused, compliment based. 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 Or compliment focused, compliment based.
Pussy in your face is what you're gonna get when she smells this fragrance.
We talk about compliments.
Hello guys, welcome back to the show. So today we're going to do an unboxing of vintage Drakkar Noir from Guy Laroche. Here's the modern version. I've got a lovely 50ml bottle, great fresh fragrance, really, really nice. It was an absolute classic of the 80s and 90s, released in 1982. I've got myself a vintage bottle that I picked up on eBay, so we're going to unbox that in one moment. Before we do that, don't forget, this is news to you guys. New Facebook group. I've started it just this week. It's called Mr. Smelly's Classic Fragrance Lounge. There's a link in the description. It's for the love of all things classic vintage themed. Join it. We just share pictures and any other kind of discussion stuff between people in the worldwide fragrance community who love either old school type fragrances like your modern version of Drakkar Noir or actual specific vintage bottles of stuff that are the old formula. Vintage and classic fragrances for men and women. Check out Mr. Smelly's Classic Fragrance Lounge. Everyone is welcome there. We don't do buying and selling. It's just for fun and sharing the passion. One other small thing, do try and sample fragrances wherever you can. If you're in the USA or Canada and Puerto Rico, the best place to do that, in my humble opinion, is myfragrancesamples.com. Great guy Mark there who runs it, and they have an amazing range of fragrances. I've got a code for you, Mr. 15. Follow the link in the description. Mr. 15 gets you 15% off site-wide. Don't miss it. Let's get into this unboxing. Okay guys, let's get into this unboxing. Here is the modern version of Drakkar Noir. I have a 50ml bottle here. Very nice aromatic fougere fragrance. Before we unbox this bad boy, the new version, well, new to me, the vintage version, new to my collection that's just arrived, let's just give you a little bit of basic information about this classic release. So it's by the house of Guy Laroche. Originally, there was a fragrance called Drakkar. That's no longer available. I don't really know what happened with that. But anyway, the one that really took off and was a success for them was Drakkar Noir. Big stuff in the 80s and right into the 90s. Very famous fragrance, very affordably available now. Obviously, it's been reformulated many times. So 1982 released this one, a flanker to the original Drakkar, which you can find on eBay. I've never tried it. For whatever reason, this was the one that stuck and became a big hit in terms of sales. So your top note, oh, by the way, the perfumer for this one, Pierre Vogny, W-A-R-G-N-Y-E. Hope I've said that correctly. Okay, so aromatic fougere fragrance. Top notes are lavender, lemon, mint, bergamot, rosemary, lemon verbena, basil, and artemisia. Your middle notes are juniper, coriander, wormwood, cinnamon, angelica, carnation, and jasmine. And the base notes are oak moss, leather, fir, pine tree needles, sandalwood, vetiver, patchouli, cedar, amber, and resins. So it's a delightful fragrance, very, very good. Even Antonio Centino from Real Men, Real Style, who does a lot of fragrance videos now, still rates this as a really good one, although he talks about a lot of modern releases and sexy new stuff and Aventus. Still rates this as a great fragrance, and he's absolutely right. It's just got this very, very clean, crisp, fresh bergamot kind of opening, lovely herbal tones, a real classic, actual textbook example of an aromatic fougere. If someone said, what's an aromatic fougere? What kind of fragrance is it? How do they smell? This would be a great place to actually start and introduce them. And you can get it for really, really cheap prices. So we've got the 50ml bottle. The problem with the modern version that we get now is there are lots of rules and regulations, which means that things like oak moss, which are a key component in the fougere fragrance, cannot be used in the kind of proportions that we really would like them to be in these fragrances because of people having allergies and all these silly regulations that have come in. So lots of things in the fragrance maybe can't be there to the extent that they were when this was originally composed. So let's see about the one I've got. It's a vintage bottle and I'm going to get stuck in. So it came in the post today. Unboxing time or unwrapping. So it's not in a box in terms of the postage packet. I'm just going to get my scissors in there. chop off the ends, get into the envelope. And here she comes, guys. Okay, so we've got a bit of a tear on the top of the box there or whatever, but no big deal. Hope I didn't do that just now. I don't think I did. So there it is, Drakkar Noir. Now, I do believe, guys, that the this kind of line here that's going through the thing is an indicator that this is your vintage version. It doesn't have that on the box anymore these days. I'm not sure if the bottle's going to have that. We're going to find out in about 1 second. Also, you can see from the ingredients list on the back there, it just says, let's try and get a better shot, but it just says ethyl alcohol, water, fragrance, and BHT. Nowadays, they have to list a lot more information, so you get longer ingredients list, and you can sort of tell from that old style barcode. This is pretty old. I would put this somewhere in the early 90s or the 90s at least. That's when barcodes started to be on fragrances. So it's definitely going to be vintage, whether there's been changes from the original 82 version here. I don't know. 100ml bottle. It's going to be a spray. Let's see how she looks. And of course, the key thing, the exciting thing is going to be to compare the scent. So I'm going to get that bottle out now. Here she comes. So you can see there on the, in terms of the logo and stuff, that's no different inside there. We don't get a change on the actual bottle. I thought that was the case actually. But it's, I think that may be a slightly different kind of shape at the top of the bottle there. It was 100ml compared to the 50ml. Very, very similar overall, but there are some differences in the logos. And it says Vaporizer there on the older version, which you don't have on the modern one. In terms of the base of the thing, there's nothing, no difference there. But you can see on the back of this one, let's just see what kind of info we have there. So Parfums Guy Laroche, address details, distribution USA, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's how a vintage one looks. Not obvious completely to tell what's vintage and what's not when you first have a quick look, but I'm pretty sure we have a good old vintage bottle. Bit of information there on the bottle of the bottom of the old box, but it's covered up by a sticker there, so I can't tell you an awful lot. But anyway, we know it's vintage. Let's spray her and see how the vintage smells compared to the modern version. Big fan of the modern version here, but hoping we might have a little bit more magic, a bit more sexiness in this vintage version. Let's spray this on a card, guys. Lovely looking sprayer type situation there. Let's just get a little bit of a shot of that on the camera. So definitely an old-fashioned sprayer with that kind of gap there between the bottle and where the actual sprayer starts. That's a sign of the old school way that fragrances often used to look with their sprayers. The lid is a very cheap plasticky lid, I have to say. Let's spray this bad boy on a card and see my first impressions of the difference between the two. I've got the modern version on a card too. Let's compare. Here we go. I should put that on camera, shouldn't I? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so we're going to do 3. We'll call that 1, 2, 3. Squirt, squirt, squirt. It's a hat trick. Let's get one more on there. Let's get one more on there. One more spray. Sprayer's not the best, actually. A bit weak. Okay, so definitely different. Is it recognisably the same fragrance? Let's compare them on 2 cards. Here's the modern version, new Drakkar Noir on here. Very fresh, very bright, very dry, very green, very pleasant. Now we have the vintage. Less bright, less zesty. More dark, more earthy. Almost a little bit of a kind of sweetness in there. Subtle sweetness. But very, actually, yeah, as a few seconds pass there, of course, I just sprayed the new version a few minutes ago, so let's allow for that fact in our calculations. Very nice. Less obviously zesty and fresh. Not blowing me away at this stage as amazing, but I'm going to give it a wearing and see how it goes over the next few hours wearing this out, just off for a coffee and some stuff like that and to go to the shop. So let's see how that goes. Nice to have it in the collection. It wasn't expensive. I can't remember what I paid. I think it was something like 30 pounds-ish or something, which was a real steal for a 100ml bottle of this old classic. Great to have it in the collection. Honestly, at this point, my first impression would be that we'll see how it develops, but I think you may be okay to just buy the modern version. We may have lost some top notes on this one. It doesn't smell off in any way, but let's see how it develops. Excited to have it in the collection just from the geeky collector point of view. Guys, let me know what you think about that. Don't forget to join the Facebook group, Mr. Smelly's Classic Fragrance Lounge. The link is in the description. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.